Hey guys, the video today is going to be about which, basically, of these two types of training principles, whether it's concurrent periodization or linear periodization, do I prefer, and why. And why your answer, I guess, might be different depending on what you're trying to do. To make it clear, I am a big proponent of linear periodization for powerlifters. Let me make that very clear. I'm a much bigger proponent of linear periodization as opposed to concurrent periodization for powerlifters. And a couple of you may be surprised by that if you guys know what concurrent periodization is. It's essentially the idea that you are training in multiple rep ranges, focused on both strength and frequency, or not strength and frequency, focusing on both strength and volume at the same time, essentially just to try to focus on bringing up some of your weak points as well as developing strength in the other ones. And some systems that are notable for this are Westside Method / Conjugate Method, with their ideas of max effort days, volume days, and dynamic effort days. So essentially what they do is they max out all the time, and on their dynamic effort days and their volume days, they try to bring up those weak points with more volume to try to build more muscle in the spot where they're having any issues in their lifts. So from that sort of standpoint, you'd think to yourself, this makes sense. I'm bringing up my weak points. And actually, this is coming from somebody who I've done both styles before, and I've seen a lot more progression in linear as opposed to concurrent. Again, this is for a powerlifter. So the reason I think linear is better is because you can't be as specific as you need to be. I'll put it this way. So what happens when you train in different rep ranges? You are building different types of muscle fibers, essentially. So you have your type 2, like your type 2B, your type A, basically the slow twitch, fast twitch type stuff. The more endurance type stuff you add to your training, the more slow twitch fibers you're going to add, as opposed to the more heavier stuff is going to end up giving you more fast twitch type stuff. So basically, I've went over this in another video over maximum recoverable volume. You only have so much. So what are you going to do when you're working in a higher volume and you're also working on strength at the same time? You're going to get a little bit better at both, and you probably are going to see some increases, because I saw some increases when I was doing a concurrent periodization type thing, but not nearly the amount you're going to see if you stick with linear. Like I said, this is as a power lifter. The reason for this is you're training in different training modalities again, so as opposed to specializing in one thing or the other, you're trying to be a jack of all trades. This, by the way, tends to lean toward this is specifically for for compound movement. So if you're working big muscular groups with the help of primary and secondary movers, not isolation type stuff, if that makes sense. So people who might benefit from a more concurrent type of training style would be maybe in-season athletes who can't afford to lose some endurance and want to keep some strength as well. You're probably not going to see any huge increases, especially an in-season athlete who is spending a lot of energy on the field themselves. But for a powerlifter where your sport is literally you lifting, it's basically the same as what you're going to be doing in the gym. The more specific you can get to your training, or the more specific that you can get to your competition, the better off your results are probably going to be. So it makes sense to focus on volume at one point, and then once you have those extra cross sections from putting on the extra muscle themselves, then you need to implement neural adaptation. And the only way to do that is by training in heavier rep ranges. So you don't want to be splitting off the pool of maximum recoverable volume you have just to deviate between, oh, I want to get better at volume, oh, I want to get better at strength. Pick one or the other. It's going to work way better for you in the long run. just as a strength athlete in general. So, in summary, I prefer linear periodization to concurrent periodization for powerlifters by a long shot. If you're an in-season athlete, concurrent might be better for you. If you're a strength athlete, in particular powerlifting, you're going to see better results with linear periodization. Again, just to emphasize, not to say that you're not going to see increases if you do either of them. You are just going to see better results, in my opinion, and sciences, I guess, doing linear periodization, just because you're not going against training modalities. Anyway, that's it for today's video. In the meantime, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll get back to you guys tomorrow.